March 4th, 2022, 2:47 a.m. Zaporizhzhia Nuclear Power Plant, Ukraine. Russian forces approaching. Largest nuclear plant in Europe. 6 reactors. Generating 20% of Ukraine's electricity. Staff, 11,000 total. Overnight shift, 500. Engineers, technicians, security. All knowing what's coming. Russian advance unstoppable. Plant must be protected. Not from capture. That's inevitable. From disaster. Nuclear disaster. Reactors must remain stable. Cooling systems must function. Radiation must stay contained. Against combat. Shelling. Chaos. Everything that threatens nuclear safety. At 2:47 a.m., Russian forces arrive. Firefight erupts. Tracer rounds visible. Explosions audible. Plant staff underground. Control rooms. Monitoring. Maintaining. Praying. Above. Battle. Below. Engineers keeping reactors stable. Temperature monitored constantly. Pressure controlled precisely. Cooling systems running continuously. Any failure means disaster. Chernobyl-scale potentially. Except 6 reactors, not 1. European catastrophe, not regional. Engineers understand stakes. Work through battle. Through terror. Through impossible conditions. Maintaining nuclear safety while plant is under fire. This is Zaporizhzhia. This is nuclear plant defense. This is how engineers become heroes. Not through fighting. Through preventing disaster. While others fight. For hours that become days. For days that become months. Plant remains operational. Reactors remain stable. Disaster remains prevented. Through engineers working impossibly. Under fire. Under occupation. Under pressure absolute. This is Zaporizhzhia. This is modern warfare's nuclear dimension, where preventing disaster requires heroism different from combat. Engineers, technicians, staff, all heroes, through preventing what would have killed millions, while warfare raged around them. The battle develops. 2:47 a.m. Russian forces engage. Ukrainian security responds. Small arms fire. RPGs. Chaos. Plant staff takes cover. Some in control rooms. Must stay. Monitor reactors. Maintain systems. Others in shelters. Underground. Waiting. Above. Firefight intensifies. Tracers everywhere. Explosions. Fire starts. Training building burning. Not reactor building. Yet. Staff monitors nervously. Fire spreading. Threatening cooling systems. Power lines. Any disruption could cascade. Reactor emergency. Meltdown potentially. 4 months AM. Russian forces advance. Ukrainian security withdraws. Can't hold. Outgunned. Outnumbered. Fall back. Russian forces enter plant grounds. Control buildings. Administrative areas. But not reactor halls. Not control rooms. Yet. Staff remains. Monitoring. One engineer later reports. Screens showed everything normal. Outside showed war. This disconnect. Nuclear precision amid combat chaos. Maintained anyway. Through training. Through professionalism. Through understanding alternative was catastrophe. 6 a.m. Fire contained. Training building damaged. Not critical infrastructure. Reactors stable. Cooling systems functioning. Power maintained. Disaster avoided. For now. But occupation begins. Russian forces control plant. Staff remains. Can't abandon reactors. Can't risk disaster. Work under occupation. Under guard. Under pressure. For months. Maintaining nuclear safety. Preventing disaster daily. While captive. This is Zaporizhzhia's reality. From March 4th forward. For months. Engineers working. Preventing disaster. Under impossible conditions. Successfully. Somehow. At 11:47 a.m. March 4th, 9 hours after battle began, International Atomic Energy Agency confirms Zaporizhzhia reactors stable. No radiation release. Safety systems functioning.
Despite battle, despite occupation, despite everything. How? Plant staff, engineers maintaining systems, through firefight, through occupation, through terror, professional competence under impossible conditions. This continues, not hours, months. Plant under Russian control. Staff working, Ukrainian mostly. Some Russian military personnel. Tension constant. Danger permanent. Any mistake risks disaster. Engineers work anyway. Monitor constantly. Maintain precisely. Respond immediately to any anomaly. Under guard. Under pressure. Under threat. For months. Until September 2022. IAEA establishes permanent presence. International oversight. Pressure slightly reduced. But danger remains. Staff continues. Engineering continues. Disaster prevention continues. Through 2022. Through 2023. Through 2024. Ongoing.
Plant operational. Reactors stable. Disaster prevented. Daily. Through staff heroism. Through professional competence. Through refusing to let nuclear safety fail. Regardless of circumstances. This is Zaporizhzhia. This is nuclear plant defense. This is engineering heroism. Different from combat. Equally critical. More dangerous potentially. Maintained successfully. Against everything. Through everything. For years. Ongoing. This is MilFront. And what happened at Zaporizhzhia wasn't combat victory or heroic defense. It was engineering excellence preventing nuclear disaster under warfare conditions, where 500 overnight staff maintained 6 reactors through firefight and subsequent occupation, where professional competence meant preventing catastrophe that would have killed millions across Europe, where engineers worked under guard maintaining nuclear safety despite impossible circumstances, where heroism was measured in disasters prevented, not enemies killed. The question isn't whether plant was captured. Obviously was. Question is how staff prevented nuclear disaster during capture and subsequent occupation. What training and professionalism enabled this impossible achievement? And what Zaporizhzhia reveals about modern warfare's nuclear dimension, where preventing disaster requires different heroism than combat, but potentially saves more lives. Official Russian statements about Zaporizhzhia claim secured safely. No danger. Operating normally. Under protection. Statements downplay battle. Ignore staff heroism. Claim credit for safety. Evidence shows different. Plant staff maintained safety. Through Russian attack. Through Russian occupation. Despite Russian presence. Not because of it. Russian statements propaganda. Staff achievement reality. Maintained through impossible circumstances. By Ukrainian engineers primarily. Working under occupation. Preventing disaster. Successfully. Ukrainian statements. Acknowledged staff heroism. Engineers working under impossible conditions. Maintaining nuclear safety. Preventing European catastrophe. Accurate. Detailed. Honest. Plant staff are heroes, not soldiers. Engineers. Technicians. Preventing disaster daily. Under occupation. Under pressure. Ukrainian statements recognize this. Celebrate appropriately. International community agrees. IAEA praises staff. UN acknowledges danger. World understands. Zaporizhzhia staff preventing catastrophe. Daily. Through professional competence. Under impossible conditions. Heroes absolutely. Stay with me. Because the detail that explains how disaster was prevented, what enabled staff to maintain safety, is going to show you that nuclear plant operators train extensively for emergency scenarios. Zaporizhzhia staff had trained for equipment failures, power losses, coolant problems, everything technical. Hadn't trained for combat, for occupation, for working under guard. But training's core principle applied. Maintain reactor stability regardless of circumstances. This principle guided staff. Through firefight. Through occupation. Through everything. Additionally, redundant safety systems. Nuclear plants built with multiple backup systems. Cooling, power, control. Any single system can fail. Others compensate. This redundancy saved Zaporizhzhia. When battle damaged some systems, others continued. When occupation disrupted normal operations, backup procedures worked. Training plus redundancy enabled staff to prevent disaster. Despite combat, despite occupation, despite impossibility, professional competence and engineering excellence. Under pressure absolute, succeeding impossibly, preventing disaster that would have dwarfed Chernobyl. Through training, through redundancy, through refusing to fail, regardless of circumstances. Let's establish what Zaporizhzhia defense actually was, what staff achieved, why matters globally. Nuclear plant specifications. Zaporizhzhia Nuclear Power Plant. Europe's largest. 6 Viva 1000 reactors. Soviet design. 1980s construction. Each reactor 1000 megawatts. Total capacity 6000 megawatts. Supply 20% of Ukrainian electricity. 40% of nuclear generated power. Staff 11,000 total. Overnight shift March 4th, approximately 500. Engineers, technicians, security, maintenance, all critical, all remained. Through battle, through occupation, doing jobs, maintaining safety, preventing disaster. Against impossible circumstances. March 4th battle sequence. 2:47 a.m. Russian forces engage Ukrainian security. Firefight begins. Small arms, RPGs, explosions. Tracers visible. Staff takes cover. Control room operators remain. Must monitor reactors. 6 reactors operational. All must stay stable. Temperature, pressure, cooling. All critical. All monitored. All maintained. Despite chaos outside. 4:00 a.m. Fire starts. Training building.
Not reactor building, but dangerous. Fire spreading could threaten infrastructure. Staff monitors. Firefighters respond. Under fire. Extinguish eventually. 6:00 a.m. Russian forces control plant. Ukrainian security withdrawn. Staff remains. At posts. Monitoring. Maintaining. Preventing. This is when real challenge begins. Not battle. Occupation. Working under guard. Under pressure. For months. Maintaining nuclear safety. Despite captivity. Nuclear safety under occupation. Plant under Russian military control. Staff mostly Ukrainian. Must work. Can't abandon reactors. Disaster would affect everyone. Russia included. Staff continues operations. Monitored by Russian military. Pressured sometimes. Threatened occasionally. Work anyway. Alternative is catastrophe. Engineers maintain cooling systems. Monitor radiation. Control reactions. Respond to any anomaly. All under guard. Under stress. Under impossible conditions. Days become weeks. Weeks become months. March. April. May. Ongoing. Staff working. Preventing disaster. Daily. Professionally.
Heroically. International response and IAEA involvement. March 4th. Global alarm. Nuclear plant under attack. Europe terrified. IAEA demands access. Russia agrees eventually. Inspectors visit. Find. Staff maintaining safety. Systems functioning. No immediate danger. But situation unsustainable. Staff under pressure. Occupation threatening operations. IAEA establishes permanent presence. September 2022. International inspectors on site. Monitoring. Reporting. Providing some protection to staff. Pressure slightly reduced. Not eliminated. Staff continues working. Preventing disaster. With international oversight. Supporting but not replacing local expertise. Ukrainian engineers remain critical. Heroes remain working. Ongoing situation and continued danger. 2022-2024. Plant remains under Russian control. Staff remains working. Reactors remain operational.
Safety maintained. But dangers continue. Shelling occasionally. Power disruptions. Staff shortages as some leave. Others stay. Cannot abandon. Must maintain. Disaster prevention continues. Daily. Professionally. Heroically. By engineers who become prisoners become heroes. By working. By maintaining. By preventing. Under impossible circumstances. For years. Ongoing. This is Zaporizhzhia reality. Nuclear safety maintained. Under occupation. Under pressure. Under threat. Successfully. Through staff excellence. Through professional competence. Through refusing to fail. Regardless of cost. Personal. Professional. Emotional.
All costs accepted. Alternative too terrible. Disaster prevented. Daily. Ongoing. 3 questions from the beginning. Time to answer them. How did staff prevent nuclear disaster during capture and occupation? Training and professionalism primarily. Staff trained extensively for technical emergencies. Applied training to unprecedented situation. Maintained reactor stability regardless of circumstances. Combat. Occupation. Pressure. All secondary to nuclear safety. This principle guided staff. Additionally, redundant safety systems. Multiple backups. When some systems disrupted, others functioned. Training plus redundancy enabled disaster prevention. Despite impossibility. Despite everything. Staff succeeded. Through competence. Through dedication. Through understanding alternative was catastrophe. What training and professionalism enabled impossible achievement? Nuclear operator training emphasizes emergency response, maintaining safety under any circumstances. Staff had trained for technical failures, not combat, not occupation, but core principle applied, reactor stability paramount. This guided decisions, actions, responses, everything. Additionally, professional culture. Nuclear engineers understand responsibility. Radiation doesn't care about politics, doesn't care about combat, requires constant vigilance. Professional maintenance. Staff embodied this. Worked under guard, under pressure, under threat. Maintained safety anyway. Because professional competence demanded it. Training enabled it. Culture sustained it. What does Zaporizhzhia reveal about modern warfare's nuclear dimension? That nuclear facilities in war zones create unique dangers. That preventing disaster requires different heroism than combat. That engineers can be as critical as soldiers in modern warfare. That professional competence under pressure can prevent catastrophes dwarfing military casualties. That nuclear plants require special protection in warfare. That staff heroism should be recognized equally with combat heroism. That Zaporizhzhia staff prevented European catastrophe through working under impossible conditions, through maintaining safety despite occupation, through professional excellence under pressure absolute. Modern warfare's nuclear dimension revealed through Zaporizhzhia. Staff prevented disaster, saved potentially millions, through engineering, through professionalism, through heroism different from combat but equally critical. The lesson from Zaporizhzhia is that in modern warfare, preventing disaster can require as much heroism as causing it. Staff didn't fight Russian forces. Couldn't. Worked anyway. Maintaining nuclear safety. Preventing catastrophe. Under occupation. Under guard. Under pressure. For years. This is heroism. Different from combat. Potentially more impactful. 6 reactors stable means millions safe. Disaster prevented means Europe safe. Staff achieved this through professional competence. Through refusing to abandon responsibility. Through maintaining safety despite impossibility. Zaporizhzhia teaches that modern warfare includes nuclear facilities. Staff at these facilities are critical. Must maintain safety regardless of circumstances. Training must prepare for unprecedented situations. International protection must extend to nuclear staff. Their heroism must be recognized, celebrated, supported, Because preventing disaster saves more lives than winning battles sometimes. Zaporizhzhia staff proved this through years of work, under impossible conditions, preventing disaster daily, successfully, ongoing. This is heroism. This is modern warfare. This is nuclear safety under fire, maintained, against everything, through engineering excellence, professional dedication, human heroism, different, critical, successful. This is MilFront. We analyze battles that define wars. Zaporizhzhia defined modern warfare's nuclear dimension, not battle, engineering, staff maintaining 6 reactors through combat and occupation, preventing disaster that would have killed millions. Through professional competence under impossible conditions, March 4th, battle erupted. Staff maintained safety through firefight, through capture, through everything. Subsequently, occupation. Staff working under guard, maintaining safety daily, for months, for years, ongoing, preventing disaster continuously, against pressure, against threat, against impossibility. This is heroism beyond combat. Engineers, technicians, staff, all heroes, through preventing catastrophe, through maintaining nuclear safety, through professional excellence under conditions that should have failed, didn't fail. Staff succeeded. Training plus redundancy plus dedication enabled this core principle, reactor stability paramount, maintained regardless of circumstances. Combat, occupation, pressure, all secondary, safety primary, achieved continuously, through years, ongoing. Zaporizhzhia staff prevented European catastrophe, through working, through maintaining, through refusing to fail. This heroism deserves recognition equal to combat heroism. Different but equal, critical, successful, ongoing. Modern warfare includes this. Nuclear facilities in war zones. Staff maintaining safety despite combat, despite occupation, despite everything. Zaporizhzhia exemplifies staff excellence, professional competence, human heroism, under impossible conditions, preventing disaster, successfully, teaching lessons about modern warfare, about nuclear safety, about different heroism, about professional dedication, about human courage, under pressure absolute, succeeding impossibly. This is Zaporizhzhia. This is nuclear plant defense. This is engineering heroism. This is modern warfare reality. Subscribe to MilFront, because understanding modern warfare requires understanding nuclear dimension. Zaporizhzhia exemplifies staff maintaining 6 reactors through combat and occupation. Preventing disaster through professional competence. Training emphasized emergency response. Redundant systems provided backup. Staff dedication provided determination. Combination enabled disaster prevention. Under impossible conditions. March the 4th battle. Staff maintained safety through firefight. Subsequent occupation. Staff maintained safety under guard. For years, staff maintained safety under pressure. Ongoing, disaster prevented daily. Through engineering excellence. Through professional competence. Through heroism different from combat but equally critical. Modern warfare's nuclear dimension revealed through Zaporizhzhia. Nuclear facilities in war zones require special protection. Staff require international support. Their work requires recognition, because preventing nuclear disaster saves millions, more than military victories sometimes. Zaporizhzhia staff achieved this through years of work, under occupation, under pressure, under threat, successfully, disaster prevented, Europe safe, millions protected, through engineers, through technicians, through staff, all heroes, through preventing catastrophe, through maintaining safety, through professional excellence, under impossibility, against everything, succeeding continuously,
This lesson applies globally. Nuclear facilities exist worldwide. Warfare happens. Staff must maintain safety regardless. Zaporizhzhia proves this possible. Through training, through redundancy, through dedication, through heroism. Different.
Critical. Successful. Study this. Learn this. Remember this. Engineers are heroes. Disaster prevention is heroism. Nuclear safety under fire is possible through professional competence, through human dedication, through refusing to fail. Zaporizhzhia demonstrates permanently. March 4th, 2022. Battle erupted. Staff maintained safety. For hours. For days. For months. For years. Ongoing. 6 reactors stable. No radiation release. No disaster. Through combat. Through occupation. Through pressure. Absolute. Staff working. Engineers maintaining. Technicians monitoring. Or preventing. Disaster that would have killed millions. Affected tens of millions more. Contaminated Europe. Caused catastrophe beyond calculation. Prevented. Daily. Through professional competence. Through training applied. Through redundancy utilized. Through dedication sustained. Through heroism demonstrated. Different from combat. Equally critical. More impactful potentially. Zaporizhzhia staff saved millions. Through preventing disaster. Through maintaining safety. Through working under impossible conditions. Successfully. For years. Ongoing. This is heroism. This is modern.